Okay, we're now doing 5.5, or recommendations and plan of action. There's a couple of parts to this that I want to first get at. I want to first look at the recommendation, and then I talk about the implementation part of it. The recommendation has parts to it. It's worth 20 points. Okay, we'll start first. What do? I want you to basically make a recommendation based on one of the alternatives that you had in your alternative section. You bring it over and you copy and paste it directly into that. You don't copy and paste the advantages and disadvantages, just write down what your recommendation is. And remember that in that recommendation, you are not just going to tell me a small one-sentence statement, but rather your recommendation should tell me who is going to do what, when, where, why, and how. And if there's a type of something or a frequency, you're going to have all that kind of information in that recommendation. Okay? So it's going to be very, very, potent of a recommendation. You're also going to tell me the reasons that you selected that particular alternative over all the other ones that were there. You're also going to tell me why the other ones were not selected, what was their weakness, what made them so poor of an alternative. Make sure that you go back to your problem statement back on page 3 or 4, whatever it is. Reread your statement and make sure that your recommendation will answer that problem. Because that's one of the very first things I do. I literally, when I open up your report, one of the very first things I do is I read your problem statement, and then I flip right to the back, and I look to see whether or not that recommendation is going to solve that problem. Because if it doesn't, then I can see that that's where I can start assessing the gaps in your analysis. If, however, your recommendation does address the problem, then I know that you're on the right track and that you've got some good solid logic going on there. So I'll gauge my assessment accordingly. Make sure that once you have identified that, yes, it does address the problem because it addresses it in this way, blah, 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 blah. Then you move on to include the Excel spreadsheet timeline. It's not an option. I want you to include an Excel spreadsheet timeline that addresses 3 timelines: immediate, short-term. Short-term, immediate is within the first, immediate timeline of the case till within a couple of days. Short-term, of course, is anywhere from under 6 months, and then for long-term, take it from 7 months up to 18 to 24 months, or even longer than that. But I want you to have that kind of time frame: immediate, short-term, and long-term. Those are your 3 timelines. You can even be more specific if you want. Then on your rows, I want you to have all the action items. I want you to basically bring to life all the things that are in your recommendation. So your recommendation can be specific. It can actually have specific names, in fact, specific dates. It can have specific departments. And your action items are basically putting things into a hierarchy and a sequence of events that are going to take place to make that recommendation come to life. So be specific, and all you do is just say the action item, put names in there, and then you can just check off whether or not it's going to be something that's done immediately or something that's going to be done in the short term or long term or whatever. Again, the Excel spreadsheet that is in the sample case online under the Bendix case, just copy and paste it and drop it right into your document. So I don't expect you to make a new table or to make a new Excel spreadsheet. I just expect you to use that Word document and manipulate it and change it as you need it to drop it into your report. Remember, my objective is not to get you to retype a case study and to remember fonts and exercise in that sense. But what I am interested in you doing is being comfortable with the concept of case study analysis. I want you to feel comfortable with the process. Whether you indent here or type font there, that's not my objective. So that Bendix sample case truly is a template that you can just insert and type over, copy, paste, drop, manipulate. That's the purpose, okay? Um, and that basically is the recommendations section of 5.5. Once again, it's worth 20 points. And if there's anything else that you need to do in terms of seeing a sample, I encourage you to either read it in the guidelines or go to the sample case and take a look at what's written there. Okay? And that's it for that section. Thanks.